Hey, what is going on, Nightmares? Chris the Nightmare here, back with you guys once again. It has been a while since I actually did a video with, you guys can see my face, we're talking, we're meeting up again, so it's good to be back. So the reason I'm doing this video is obviously this is going to be a spoiler review for The Exorcist Believer, and I don't normally do spoiler reviews and things like that until like after the movie has been already kind of out there and people got the chance to see it. However, there has been, at least from the reviews I'm seeing, there's been a lot of negative reviews. You know, like the Rotten Tomatoes is giving it, I want to say maybe a 24% if I remember correctly. It's pretty low on the Rotten Tomatoes, but at the end of the day, I don't trust Rotten Tomatoes. I don't go off of what other people are saying, whether they dislike the movie or the movie sucked. Because there's been plenty of movies that I've seen bad reviews on and they turned out to be great movies, or just misunderstood movies. And I wanted to do this review video to just kind of talk about Exorcist the Believer. Now, again, this is a spoiler review, so if you guys haven't seen the movie yet, pause the video, go see the movie, and then come back to this video and we can talk about it and you can kind of see what I'm talking about as far as the movie and what I think of it. Now, Exorcist Believer, I have been saying it for the last couple videos and live streams that I've been in, and it's been a topic. I was worried about how Blumhouse and David Gordon Green were going to do this movie, because to me, The Exorcist seemed like it was a one and done type of storyline. Now, I do give credit to Exorcist the beginning, where they show a little bit about Pazuzu and Father Merrin in the beginning, and how Father Merrin became the priest that Pazuzu feared in the original Exorcist. Now, that one is a good one. That is, I will say, as far as prequels go, that is one of the best prequels to a movie I've seen in a long time. So if you haven't seen it, check out Exorcist the beginning, okay? Not Dominion, because Dominion, there was two parts of that film. The beginning is the one you want to go to, not the Dominion one. But anyway, Exorcist the Believer obviously takes place after the original Exorcist, and we kind of see two more girls, Angela and Catherine, get possessed and all that other good stuff, and going into an Exorcist movie that we all know and love. Now, the film is called Believer, okay? And that is a key point that you guys have to take into consideration, whether you're going to go see the movie or if you've already seen the movie. You have to understand the believer aspect of this movie. Now, Exorcist, we have to remember, is the original demon possession movie that we have out there. That gave birth to fear. That gave birth to people going back to church in some cases. That gave people of kind of a benefit of a doubt. What if the devil exists, right? It brought fear. It was a classic. It actually hit their 50th anniversary. I can't even talk. Their 50th anniversary not too long ago. And, you know, The Exorcist is something that just doesn't have to have all the bells and whistles to scare people. It doesn't have to have those bells and whistles to get people to be psychologically messed up and kind of debate with themselves if there's a God and if there's a devil. Now, in Exorcist Believer, you know, a lot of people are giving it bad reviews, but I absolutely love the movie. I gave it a 7 out of 10 just because, for my own personal opinions, which we'll get into right now, it could have been different or better in so many ways. But anyway, we have Angela and Catherine. What they do is they go into the woods and they use what I guess you could say a modern day version of a Ouija board, where we're using a pendulum and a candle. And the main thing is that Angela's mom died while she was pregnant with Angela. And, you know, she never got a chance to meet her mom, talk to her mom. She just knows what her mom and everything that had happened. So her main thing was to try to get in contact with her mother. Now, Catherine, on the other hand, is a religious family. So I guess let's start with Angela and her dad. They're not very religious. They don't believe in things like that. However, Angela wants to try to connect with her mother and communicate with her. Catherine, on the other hand, is a very devout Christian. Their family is very religious and things like that. So in Angela's mind, she thinks that Catherine, being religious and believing in God, that she can talk to the dead, or she can reach out to her mom, or may know a way to reach out to her mom. Now, obviously, if you're a religious person, Catholic, Christian, whatever your religion is, you don't really talk to the dead as far as communication. You would talk to someone like a loved one that's passed on in prayer, or to yourself, like, Mother, I miss you, so on and so forth. So Angela is thinking that because Catherine is believing in God and is a Christian and all that good stuff, she believes that she can show her a way to talk to the dead or to communicate with her mother. So she's kind of misunderstanding what people in religion do and how they speak to their loved ones. So in the process, they go to the woods, they play with the pendulum over a lighted candle, trying to reach out to her mother. Now, it is important the fact that Angela did take a piece of clothing that belonged to her mother as a piece of connection to be able to draw her mother's spirit during the seance in the woods. Now, her father takes the scarf, saying that, this is your mother's stuff. It's very close and dear to me. I just don't want it to get lost or destroyed. I'm going to take it back. So there goes the connection piece that Angela needed to connect with her mother. Obviously, the girls do their seance, and no mother, nothing's there. There was nothing, or so they thought, until something comes out from obviously hell, or the other world, the underworld, and it's obviously Pazuzu, the same demon that was possessing Reagan in the original one. So the girls become possessed, they go missing, they're found 3 days later, and they start acting crazy. Now, the one thing I do love about why Believer does this is because the whole part of it is the belief, right? So on one hand, you have Angela's father, who's handling things from a psychological, mental aspect, and Catherine's family is handling it through a spiritual, by faith alone aspect. So at the end of the day, we talk about, or actually Ellen Burstyn, who plays Chris McNeil, who does reprise her role. We have her now experienced with the possession and things like that, and she studies every religion, every culture about the possession, trying to understand what happened with her and her daughter. And that's where Angela's father brings her in, as you've had experience with this demon or demons in possession. I need your help. Maybe you could help our daughters with their situation. So that right there is pretty awesome, that we were already getting into the Ellen Burstyn, Chris McNeil coming back. It is stated that her and her daughter Reagan have kind of drifted apart due to Chris writing a book about the experience, and Reagan kind of not liking that because it's putting her out there, popularity. She doesn't want to remember. She doesn't want to be a part of that possession. She doesn't want to be a part of that theme anymore. So Chris comes in and tries to give her helping hand. Now, part of my reason why I didn't really I gave it a 7 out of 10 is because I felt that her part in the movie was too short. They could have made it longer. But however, what they ended up doing ended up making sense. And you got to remember, this is the first out of a trilogy, so it's building up all these different like streams and storylines that are all going to connect eventually, either in the second or the third film. But anyway, we have Catherine, who literally stabs because Chris wants to see Reagan again. She misses her daughter. She wants her back in her life, and all she wants in life is to see her daughter's pretty face. So that's where we fast forward a little bit to where Chris is visiting both girls to see the possession, and Catherine, who is at home, because remember, her family is dealing with this with faith alone at home, while Angela's dad is dealing with it on a mental aspect in a mental hospital. So we have Catherine, who takes a cross and asks Chris, are you looking for Reagan? You want to see Reagan again? And she stabs Chris in the eyes, taking out her eyesight and putting Ellen, I keep wanting to call her by her real name, but putting Chris into the hospital and kind of out of the movie, or out of the game of the possession exorcism thing going on for a while. But she's still a part of the movie. She's still putting in her 2 cents. And it is crazy because at the end of the movie, and if you're expecting to see Linda Blair have a good amount of screen time in this movie, you're gonna be a little disappointed, because she does make a cameo at the end when she reunites with her mother. However, that's where Pazuzu the demon is pretty much got her. Like, you want to see your daughter again? I'll make sure you don't ever see your daughter again by taking out her eyes. But they are reunited, and you do have that build up to where Chris and Reagan are gonna definitely be a part of the second and the third film, because their war with this demon is not over. As Chris said in the movie, we've met before, right? Now, I will tell you, the demon Pazuzu, or the devil, whatever you'd like to call him, is not playing in this movie. In the original, Pazuzu lost, ultimately. Pazuzu went into Father Karras. Father Karras jumped out the window and died. So ultimately the demon lost, right? In a way, won, because the demon was able to take out Father Marin, and in some way, I guess you can say, took out Father Karras, although Father Karras, I think, won that. But the demon lost, ultimately, right? The demon let go of Reagan to get into Father Karras and ultimately lost their battle. So Pazuzu in this one is not playing, because there is a lot of, as you can see in the trailer, God played a trick on you, right? And the demon is a liar, just like this clip right here.
Does dangerous. He's a liar. The demon is a liar. He will like to confuse us.
So in that clip, Father Merrin even states the demon is a liar. He'd like to confuse us, you know, things like that. But the demon is not playing. I mean, we've have so many things as far as taking out Chris's eyes, right? Never being able to see her daughter again, which we see at the end of the movie. We have, you know, the demon pretty much given these families, you need to make a choice. I'm in both of these girls here. You need to make a choice. One lives, one dies, right? And that is what's the tension right there, is that the demon is trying to break down these families. The demon is not even playing anymore. It's like, you know what? If I'm going to get out of here, if I'm going to do what I'm going to do, you need to pick one of these girls. One lives, one dies. Ultimately, during the exorcism parts, you know, we finally get to where Catherine's father says, I choose Catherine. And that was a big no-no during this whole thing. And what happened was the demon actually said, okay, you want Catherine? Well, I'm going to make it seem like Angela's going to die, but really kills Catherine. So it switched. Pazuzu, the demon, pretty much played a trick on them, right? Like, this is who you choose. This is who I'm going to kill. We're going to leave Angela alive. Now, the one thing I love about this movie, Believer, is that it doesn't need all the bells and whistles, right? It's not The Conjuring. It's not Insidious. It's not Paranormal Activity. It's The Exorcist. So you don't need to have all this extravagant stuff. It's more of a psychological and a movie that's going to play on your faith and on your mind, on what you would do and how you would handle things. And do you believe in God? Do you believe in the devil? It is psychological, but there are some, obviously, you know, things moving on their own. There's the demon. There's the classic, you know, possessed look that we got from the original. So it overall, Believer is a movie that's getting you to understand that this is not just something with Catholics. This is with Christians. This is with Buddhas. This is with everything, right? So I love how Believer takes it and makes you, I don't want to say it makes you believe, but it takes it to understand that every religion goes through some sort of demonic God, I can't even say demonic possession. Okay, so it gets the characters in the movie to believe. It gets you to look at both aspects of possession, which you don't normally get to do, because you look at it on a scientific level and then you look at it from a faith, spiritual level. And that's what the original did. The original was psychological. The original made you think, is this a mental thing? Is this a faith thing? And that's what Believer is about, is to get you introduced to these characters, get you to understand that this is not just a one religion thing, or just, it may not even come after you if you're just only religious. It can happen to anybody. Hence Angela, her family aren't religious, you know, and it happened to her. Catherine, her family's religious, and it happened to them. It can happen to anybody. And the point of it is to get you to believe, to meet these characters, because this is a trilogy. We are going into 3 movies here, or 2 more movies after this. So needless to say, Chris gets her eyes taken out. She is reunited with her daughter, Reagan. We do have Catherine, who died, who is now actually in hell. Because you see that scene where when this transformation of Pazuzu killing Catherine and Angela, pretty much Catherine, got sent to hell, and Angela ultimately lives through the experience. Now, so far, the second movie in this trilogy is going to be called Exorcist the Believer, the Deceiver. So we are playing into that fact of what the second movie is going to entail. Now, at the end of the movie, I will tell you, they're showing Angela back in class and looking at the empty seat of where Catherine was, or where she was seated in class. At that same time, that is where we have Linda Blair, Reagan, coming to reunite with her mother. And when that happens, we get a scene of Angela sitting there looking at the empty seat, and she smiles. Okay, so again, hence going into the second movie, Exorcist the Deceiver, the demon is still in Angela, right? Only led you to believe that the demon is gone, which happens in demonic possession, is to where it leads you to believe that the demon is gone, but the demon is still there. So overall, like I said, I gave this movie a 7 out of 10. It is a really good movie. It gets you into the world of The Exorcist. Now, if you're going in there trying to expect the Insidious, Conjuring type of movie where everything's going crazy and out of whack, you're going to be disappointed, okay? The Exorcist, the original, did not have to have all those bells and whistles. right? And if you remember what the demon said in the original one, where Father Karras was like, do it again, and Reagan said, that's much too vulgar display of power, right? It's almost an insult for me to show you my power. Now, don't get me wrong, you do see what Pazuzu can do in this movie with the girls and the things that move around and stuff like that. Like I said, Pazuzu's not playing around, because he came to screw shit up, okay? But like I said, a 7 out of 10, and that's my only reason is because I would have liked to seen Ellen Burstyn as Chris McNeil have a little more of an impact in this movie. But then again, she may not have her time until the second or the third movie. Like I said, we get Linda Blair back, we get Christine, we get Chris, right, the mom, we get Reagan, we get them back leading into the second one. So Believer, like I said, take it as you will. You know, if you don't like the movie, you don't like the movie. If you did like the movie, I'm glad you did. But I don't know, there's just so much to unpack and uncover, and I think we're going to probably do a live stream on Instagram or here on YouTube to talk about it a little bit more in detail. But I just kind of wanted to run through what happened in the movie and why this movie is actually good if you sit down and understand the psychological part of it. Like I said, they tackle the mental side of it, they tackle the religious side of it. Two different families, two different worlds, all with the same problem, with the same enemy, and then having to go to someone who has experienced all this stuff for help and understanding of what is going on. And that every religion goes through this. Everybody who doesn't have a religion or don't believe can still go through this, and that's the point, is to get people to believe and to understand. Not saying that it's you know 100% real, but for the storyline, that is the psychological part of it, is to make you think, to make you understand, hey, this can happen to anybody and anyone. So that's my review on it, guys. I know it was probably a lot of blabble. Hopefully you guys understood what I was talking about. But like I said, don't worry, we're going to have a live stream soon, probably live on Instagram. And we'll talk about it a little bit more and get a better understanding of it and answer questions. And we can touch on different topics if you guys have. But I've taken up enough of your time, guys. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Comment down below if you've seen the movie. Comment down below if you have questions. When we do the live stream, I can write down those questions and we can answer them and address them. But let me know in the comments down below, did you enjoy Exorcist the Believer? What did you think of it? And yeah, until next time, you guys, thank you for watching. Appreciate you guys, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take it easy.